All right, thank you for tuning in to this day's session of our tax and insurance course. Today we're going to be doing our hands-on mock sessions where you'll actually go into the system and start doing a practice return. On this evening's session, we're going to start out with our class participant, Mrs. Monique, and we're going to demonstrate going through our tax client, Mr. Amon's tax return today. If you don't mind sharing your computer screen and logging into the Ultimate Tax software, we'll get started with Mr. Amon's return. So Monique, what I need you to do is share your screen and pull it up, and then I'm on the admin screen, so I'll be able to come in and help with any corrections if you need it, but I'll be able to walk and guide you through as we are demonstrating Mr. Amon's return today. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share my screen for a moment while she's getting hers up and pull up. Is this Amon's? All right, so what Monique has pulled up is Bob Amon's. What I'm showing you on my screen, where you see the tax preparation worksheet, this is the scenario for Mr. Amon's. So we're going to assume that Mr. Amon's came in. He's given us the information. The scenario that we have to work off of is that Mr. Amon's is a sales associate. He's the head of household. He has two dependents named Amanda Amon's and Susan Amon's, and everyone has insurance through Mr. Bob Amon's job. That's our scenario. This is our worksheet. The information that we're going to go over is Mr. Amon's credits, Mr. Amon's income, and if we had any expenses, what verifications we used, and the due diligence that we would have done to accurately prepare this tax return. All right, so that's our synopsis. That's what we're working with. And now we're going to switch gears and go into our system. So now what we're seeing is the Ultimate Tax 2017 software. We're seeing where Monique has started to enter our client's information. We have Mr. Bob Amon's. We have his first name, his last name, and his social, and all his main information so far. All right, if you can scroll down for me, Miss Monique, and walk us through what you've done so far, and then we'll go over the different areas on the forms.
Okay, so we're on the main information sheet, and we've entered in Mr. Amon's name and social and his address, his telephone number, his birth date, and his occupation, which is a sales associate. And
what about his dependents information? Did we enter that in yet?
Let's see.
Okay.
Filing head of household. The qualifying person, I put Amanda Amon's or Amon's.
Mm-hmm.
And then for his dependents, he has two, Amanda and Susan. They're his daughters. I assume that they were in the house with him for the entire year. So I put 12 months, and that he qualified for the earned income credit. So we check mark both of those boxes.
Okay. All right, so let's go down and see how did we add on Mr. Amon's W-2.
Okay, so to add on his W-2, just click on the plus sign here and typed in W-2 in the box, and then it pulled up. Once it pulled up, I was able to enter his W-2 information. It is his W-2, so he's the taxpayer, and I was able to look at the W-2 and make sure that the address on that did match his actual resident address. So I checked this spot here for that.
Okay.
Put the control number that was on the W-2. I went and typed in his wages, the federal tax that was withheld, the Social Security wages, and his Medicare wages. Some of this auto-populates, so I was able to just look and confirm that everything was correct. Once I saw that everything was correct, I put a check mark here where it says, please verify that everything was correct. Then typed in his actual employer's name and their address. Once we get that typed in, the name code populates for us. So that's there. And also on the W-2, it asks what state he works in and his state tax that were withheld. So I just typed that in also.
Okay. It does not look. So did we go in? Let's see if Mr. Amon's EIC, which is the earned income credit, is calculating, which is what one of the credits that was on his scenario. So let's click on the EIC schedule. Yeah, let's start there.
Okay.
And let's scroll down and make sure that we've answered all of our questions for the credit. Okay, so we haven't. And here we're gonna answer the EIC credit questions to see if that's going to change his refunds any. Let's go back over. If you can go over to your refund monitor on your left corner, and let's see what it is right now and see if we're going to change any of that. All right, so what we've entered so far is his W-2. On his main information sheet, we've added in his dependents. Here comes where we need to verify and make sure that we're getting our credits, because sometimes the forms don't automatically calculate the credits. We have to go in and make sure that all our forms are calculating the correct answers so that the credit will populate. So we're going to start here and answer with, was the child under the age of 24 at the end of 2017? We want to answer yes to that. Was the child, and then it has a part B to that. And because that's not in our scenario, when we had the interview with him, the child was not permanently disabled. So we're going to answer no to that. Yeah, and that's going to be the same for both of the dependents. Yes. All right, so let's go down on the next form to the next EIC worksheet right there. Yes, ma'am. So we want to scroll down. That has already answered. Looks accurate. Let's go down. You scroll down a little bit more. So let's see, is either true. I believe it should be yes on number 7. Okay. Let's scroll down some more. No. And then, yeah, scroll down a little more. I can only see half your screen. I apologize. Yeah. And scroll down. And no, we want to answer no there. No, down here where it says if you're EIC on your 2016, yes. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more. Okay, let's scroll down a little more. All right, now let's go back over to your left corner and see if we fill that form out and it changed that refund amount. So, one thing I wanted to make sure we were doing was putting in information and then knowing how to complete our worksheets and forms so that we'll know if our credits are calculating or not. That's why I wanted to see how we would be able to move through the system and then come in and show the different things that we will look for to make sure. So typically that's where I'll come in and check in and make sure that all the credits and things are calculating. But what I'm trying to make sure that we as a team see is how to see those things as well. So it was there, but because it didn't calculate it all the way, it wasn't giving the correct refund amount initially. So now we have our scenario completed because we have everything that we did in office, which was gathered all his pertinent information. We know that these are his dependents. In this scenario, what we were writing in is that we collected his social security cards for his dependents, that we collected the verification birth certificates, we collected his W-2s, and those would be the verifications from our profile when we started out, to say that we collected that information, and that's how we got to these credits. That's why we knew what credits we were going after. That was the evidence that we have to validate us going for these credits, and this is us doing the work to go in and see how to calculate those credits. Do you see the difference? And do you have any questions about that particular return? I want to kind of keep it simple, but also show you some of the things that you need to look for and some of the different values that we want to offer as a preparer.
Yes.
So I think you did a very good job. I like that you started out, you went on and put all the information that you did have available, and then we were able to go in and calculate that worksheet together and see the difference in the refund. So I liked the process that we did, and I like the results that we're getting so that we can see it together as a team. So do you feel comfortable with that?
Yes, I feel pretty comfortable. It was good to know that even if you have a green check mark, you need to still make sure that everything calculates.
Well, actually, what it was before, it was showing that it pulled it up. So the worksheet was there, but we didn't have a green check mark. So those are just things that we'll start to notice the more practice returns we do, because it was a paper like that Schedule A when we initially got started. But now that we've gone in and calculated those, you can see where you get the green checks at. So now we can see how when we pull a form in and how, because on that main information sheet, when we put in and selected the EIC, that's why it pulled the form up. But when we go in and complete the forms, that's when we get the green checks. And that's how we know if it's calculating or not. Because that refund that we were seeing before was from the money that he's paid in, and those are from exemptions, personal exemptions.
Okay, so it's still a good rule of thumb to make sure you have a green check mark.
Yes, we definitely want to make sure we have green check marks, and we definitely want to make sure that the credits that we're trying to obtain, that we see the form for them, and then once we see the form for that credit, that we actually get a check mark on that form to know that that credit is calculating. So now we know that his federal refund is $9,766 versus the 41. And now let's go down and see what the state is calculating. Do you want to do one more, Monique?
Where do I click for the state?
You moved off my. Let's scroll down. On your form, your Minnesota individual income tax.
Excuse me.
Yes. Well, you're on the form. I want to scroll down on it where it says Minnesota. Yeah. All right, let's go to page 2. And I want to kind of put this in so that you can see the difference in the states, because different states might have different credits. They might have a different way.
That's why I'm outside of front porch. That's it. This stuff for the
Mute your mic. I don't see her.
Bubble maker. I wonder if she take batteries. I don't even know. I'm gonna get some batteries. That bubble maker.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I've muted it for her. So tell me. I think we just saw the refund amount for the state. Can you scroll back down on your page 2? Yeah, see there, refund due, $3,081.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's his state for Minnesota, and again, I wanted us to kind of get used to seeing different states. I know most of the time we see Georgia because that's where we are, but different states do look different. Sometimes they ask different questions. Sometimes they give different credits. It just depends on the states and that tax year and what they're offering. Typically, during the interview process, we want to ask the client if they want to get the refund deposited in the same bank account listed on your federal return. So you want to check the top box for that. All right, and then to complete this, we'll scroll down. It should ask about, here we go, that first one right there. Will they go outside the USA? You want to say no to that. All right, now let's go to the left and see if we got that state a green check. If we answered everything, yes, we did. So now that form has been answered for that state to qualify that being completed. So we know that that state's refund is completed, that he's getting $3,000 from that state, and that his federal is $9,000. I think he got an awesome refund this year. Now this 8879 form, you have a couple forms that still have reds. Let's look at that. That's the even those things will be already filled out before your season starts. So let's scroll down and see if there's anything else. All right, so this is good return. All this information, that's just basic information that was left blank intentionally. So we know that since nothing else is highlighted saying anything that's going on with this form, that this is a pretty good return, and we can go ahead and finalize that. We will go ahead and present our customer with their refunds amount. We would tell them that the federal is estimated to be $9,766. We have your state calculated to be $3,000. I think it was $5 or $105, and then we would give him those numbers and see if he wanted to go ahead and file that tax return with us. And that's a completed tax return for right now. Do you want to go into another one, or do you have questions?
The amount that we're charging the customer, where do we put that?
Let's go down. You'll put that on the price. Let me see. Go down a little bit. Okay. I don't see it on your worksheet. Hit your main info. Let's see if you have it where we can put it in. If it's missing something, scroll down to the middle for me. Scroll down a little bit more. Let's right in here, right there. Okay, so type of return, you want to select bank product. You want to select Santa Barbara. That will be the bank that we will be using. Yes. All right, now we're going to scroll back down on the left forms to see that information. All right, so that's all of that. We will need to complete the bank use, and we'll go over that. And right down there where it say price, that's where you're going to enter your preparation fees. Now, depending on the type of return that you're doing, and depending on if it's a company client or a contractor's client. As a contractor, your fees, you have the ability to set your fees within a certain parameter. So as a contractor, your fees will range typically from $500 to $700, depending on the work that you have to do. For a basic tax returns, and that is a single person with no write-offs and no dependents, might range from $50 as a $50 and up. The $50 might be your preparation fee, and you'll put that on line 1 where it says 1040. But for this particular type of return, the standard fee on this one typically will be $300 to $400 to $500, and you figure out as a contractor how much you would want to charge this client. You went in, you got him his credits, you got him a refund ranging from federal $9,700, and you also got him $3,000 in state. What do you want your commission rate to be for that return?
You said put 300 on here?
Yeah, you can start it out from 300 to 500, but as a contractor, I want you to know that that's where you have flexibility, and you can you can either 3, 5, 350, 400, depends on what you want to charge. All right, now in order to see all your forms, all of your fees and your refunds calculated, you're going to have to complete your bank use forms. So those forms on the left, we're going to go ahead and complete those. The taxpayer's PIN is typically going to be the last 4 of their social plus 0, and his is 2017, so it'll be 2017 0. Okay, so you're going to go to bank disclose. So we want to give consent. If our client is agreeing and they want to go through the bank, which allows them not to have to pay any fees up front, then these are the forms that we're completing for that type of transaction. And that again allows them to get their fees for their service. You want to select I hereby consent, both of those. Yes. And you want to put the date. Yes, ma'am. So this is where we're disclosing this information to our clients at the time of preparation, and we're letting them know that they're not paying any fees up front, that the fees will be coming out of their refund for their tax preparation for their bank, and their refund will be distributed however they select. And the clients have the option to select to get a check, direct deposit, or they can also get a green dot card or a Walmart pickup through our program. And the Walmart card is a debit card that they can have either if they're in office, they can get the card issued to them immediately, or they can have a card mailed to their home address. And if they want to do the Walmart pickup, that's when they can select to actually go to Walmart and have their refund picked up in cash. All right, so now we're going to go down on our left forms table. We're going to go back down so that we can see our final numbers calculated together. So let's scroll down. Right here where this is our bank. The SB is our bank application. And we're going to go ahead and finalize it. On the top line, where we have this check where it says state refunds, the very top, when you see the zero right under the 9,766, yes, we want to click yes. Click that box so it can calculate the state. Now it has added on the state. Sometimes you might have multiple states and you'll add on one and we'll do something different for a multiple state. But we'll go into that later. Now you want to answer the second question, which is, do you believe this tax return should be reviewed for fraud? And you want to go ahead and select no. So we know that his refund total is $12,847. We want to scroll down and finish completing our bank application. We will be able to offer the advance cash and things of that nature. We will go over that in-house on how to present that and all the details on those type of transactions. For this client, I think they decided they wanted to get a check. So you'll just select RT for check. RTDD is direct deposit. The Walmart money card is the prepaid card that we talked about. And the Walmart direct to cash is that Walmart cash pickup that we talked about. All right, so we've selected that he's going to get the check, and we'll go ahead and scroll down and complete the application. All right, so we're going to answer here. We're going to select cell phone, which method of communication, because we have his cell phone number. So we'll select cell phone at the top on the left. Yes. And then we're going to select yes for the cell phone. And then we'll scroll down. Here you're going to see the breakdown. Let's go back up one more step. All right. We're going to see the breakdown of our refund and our fees. So you'll notice here where it gives you $12,847. That's his total refund. You'll see less the fees, which is his bank and preparation fees. The total fees add up to $596.95, which will leave the taxpayer bringing home a net of $12,250. On the second part that we need to confirm, it's asking if we confirm the taxpayer's social security number for this. And yes, we did. We got a copy of it. So we're going to select that, a valid copy of it. Yes, they filed a 2016, so we'll select yes. And then here, we'll select I. You can select yes. Have personally examined the unexpired government issued photo ID. So that's why, again, we went through our in-house process and all the forms and things that we collect once we're starting our files, so that we can make sure that we're qualifying and that we're having all the information that the banks are going to require, that the IRS is going to require, and that's why we have all these documents in the process that we have. So now you're going to enter in the date. Yep, and we got a copy of his driver's license. All right, let's put 2017, and then we're going to enter Georgia. On the top line where it says ID number, just enter in 2017. Yeah, and we'll move down and enter Georgia. For the authority that issued the ID, we want to enter Georgia. Okay, what's the birthday? Typically it's going to be the birthday. That's the expiration. We want to enter June 15th. What is that? 79. And enter, oh no, I'm sorry. That's the issue date, 2015. And then the expiration date will be 6/15/2020. And yes, the taxpayer is a citizen. And now we have our bank application with the green check that we see over here in our left forms column. So that's the refund amount and the forms that we use to complete this particular return. Do you feel confident in that, or do you have any questions?
Oh no, I feel confident.
Good. I think you did an excellent job. Do you want to do another one, or do you want me to go to another participant?
Oh, you can move on to another participant.
All right. Okay, so just to go through, I'm going to demonstrate this one for you all, and I'm going to use the John Milner assignment that I sent out. So this is going to demonstrate Mr. Milner. I think it was a little bit of a test for everybody because he didn't. This is the one that did not have tax statements attached to him. So everybody was like, well, what do I enter? Where is it at? So it was a little bit of a trick to kind of see if we were paying attention during some of the presentations where we talked about a client like Mr. Milner, who is self-employed. And he does not have the typical W-2s. So it was a little bit of a trick to get you thinking, but I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it to you so that we can just see. And I'm going to use that. All right, so we have Mr. John Milner. He lives at 45 Sunset drive. And we're going to put in his zip. So that lets us know that it's in Lindale, Georgia. I'm going to put in his phone numbers. And he's a dentist. All right. He also has a spouse who is Jill. And his wife was a homemaker. His state was Georgia. Okay. All right. So Mr. Milner is a self-employed dentist. And he needs to report his income on a Schedule C. We're going to go here and add in our form for the Schedule C. And we see here that we have a couple options that came up. We could do a Schedule C, page 1, and start there, or we can do a Schedule C easy. We're going to go with the number 1 and get the full self-employment schedule. His profession is a dentist. His accounting method is cash. And yes, he did. In our scenario, let me pull it over for a second. Well, I won't pull it over. I'm just saying that we know in our scenario that it stated that John materially participated in the operations of his business. And the reason why I stated that in our scenario is because that's a very important statement, which is on line G on the self-employment, because that allows him to get certain discounts and deductions because he participated in the business. And I'll show you the difference when we materially participate or if we select no. So that is a key question or key statement that was in our scenario. We're going to go in and add on his 1099 miscellaneous to his self-employment. We have his business EIN in our scenario, and so we're going to enter that here. We're going to enter in non-employee compensation. Of the 48, I'm sorry, of the 80,000 that was reported on his 1099. All right, so we've added on the 1090. We've added in the income from the 1099. What I'm going to show you now is that we have to override. So this is one of the ones that I wanted to show you the different things the different steps that you'll have to take with some tax returns, just depending on the forms that they have and the way that it has to be reported. So now we're going to have to override his gross receipts and sales, because it's not just the 80,000 that was reported on the 1099. He also had cash that he also reported, and the cash was 48,000. What was my cash total again? I can't even remember. Okay, 48. Won't let me override it. Let me see. It wasn't letting me do the F8 is your override key. It's F8 and F3, and it's F8 that took it. So 128,000 is what his total income was. 128,000. So he had 80,000 on a 1099, and then he had a cash value of 48,000. And so we also know Mr. Milner had several expenses that he wanted to write off. He had 1,500 that we're going to put here in advertising. He had legal and professional services that equaled up to 450. That's line 17. He has $6,000 worth of office expenses. So you can either put in the 6,000 here, or we want to go into details if we have the receipts and itemized items that we want to reflect that 6,000. We'll go into it here, and then we'll break it down. We'll itemize it here. It said office expenses. If some of it was for equipment or repairs or supplies, whatever the client has that we want to itemize, this is an area that we can also utilize to do that. So we know it was 6,000, and we want to go ahead and make sure that our numbers are calculating accurately. So that's the 6,000. We'll go back, and that's how you go back and forth through your forms, going into them, adding additional attachments. All right, so now we've added in the advertising, we've added in his legal, and we've added in the office expenses that he brought in and said that he had. We have rent. He has $12,000 worth of rent, so that's line 20, rent or lease. So let's put that 12,000 right there. All right, other things that he said he had was repairs, supplies, and taxes. Here's our repairs and maintenance. That was $846. He said he had $6,216 worth of supplies. Utilities is line 25. He has $6,800 in utility bills. Contractor, he had $21,500 in contractor fees. And if you notice, as we are entering his expenses, his AGI, which is the amount that he earned, is reducing. The taxable amount that he started out owing is reducing. And he has a few more write-offs that he's giving us to add in. So let's tally that up. Magazines and subscriptions. We'll go down. If we do not see an expense that the client has turned in to us, you can also type in other expenses on page 2 of the self-employment and write it in here. All right, and then we also know that he has business miles. He told us that he had 35,652 business miles. That he had 1,239 commuting. And 5,000 miscellaneous. And that's what is calculated him to get at $19,074 worth of mileage. We have his magazine there. And he also said that the company made charitable contributions of $2,650. This is where we're going to put in our taxes. Okay. Those are the expenses. And this is the taxes that, the balance that Mr. Miller has based on all the write-offs and expenses that he's given us and the income that he earns. I'm just verifying with my notes to make sure that I'm not missing any of his expenses. And what we would give Mr. Milner in the case for a client that may owe and have a balance due to the state and or the federal government, because I'm sure he has he owes the state $21.01, and then he owes the federal $10,796. So this client, one, as a preparer, you'll be initially taking preparation fees, or assuming preparation fees will be paid up front. When a client typically has to pay out, that means that they're going to pay you and all balances due to the federal and state governments if they have any. So how you would approach this is, once you've gone in and you've itemized and done all of the write-offs and deductions that you have been given from your clients, and you have their balance and information ready for them, of course we would go in and complete. We don't want any red marks. We wouldn't be using the bank, so we would remove this information because we can't go through a bank with a negative fee. And we would have our client pay us up front, and we would go ahead and finalize and get all of our green checks, and then we would print it out, and what will come up is a voucher. This will be his federal tax due payment voucher. And I wanted to show you this because we spoke on it in the earlier lesson when we talked about them having federal payment accounts and having to assist our clients with different things of that nature. This is a client that would fit into that scenario, and this is what a federal payment voucher looks like. This is what they would have to use to submit either full payment or make a installment plan with the IRS. They do not make installment plans with the tax preparer. We do not have that authority. The only thing that we will be doing is preparing the tax return, and once it's finalized, if the taxpayer agrees to the information that is being reported, the balance that is due, and all the information that has been given to the client, then they will sign off on the tax return as any other standard return. And again, the payment for services will be paid up front, whether it's through cash or credit or debit card. Does anyone have any questions on a client who is self-employed, who has to report their own income, who is giving you their expenses, who you've gone through your interview process with, and now we're at this stage, we're going to collect our preparation fees again up front, and we're going to finalize their tax return and print everything out, and we're going to give them their vouchers to each one of their departments and show them and explain to them and walk them through how to take care of their balances. And let me show you your state voucher. So that was the federal, and here's your payment voucher for the state. Do we have any questions? All right, so I'm gonna close this tab. I'm gonna close that. So let's do a brief walkthrough, because I'll show you without using the forms table. Okay, so we've gone through. We still have a few things that we know we need to enter to get the red off so that we can finalize it. But we know that we've entered all the information that we have on our for our client. This is the Affordable Care Act, which is our health insurance. We do have to report this. No. Yes and yes. That way our client don't have any penalties for not having insurance. That is the second page. And now I'm going to show you where we will still see, this is our 1040. This is our, we know that 1040 is your primary tax return. And we're going to go to page 2 to see our balance too. Make sure that everything is still adding up. Amount you owe, line 78. That's $10,796. And here's our voucher. This is our federal voucher. Alright. If you do not know your client's business code, I just want to show you this tool, business code, F1. Okay, it's going to bring up your Schedule C codes for the different professions for self-employment. So you will have to, if you do not know your code, you will have to go in and find it. For instance, ours was a dentist. So since we're in the codes, we'll go ahead and look it up for a dentist. Here it says Office of Dentist. So that's 621210. Let's make sure that one is the right one that fits, and it is. But again, F1 will get you to your business codes. And then from there, you'll go through and look at it and see which one fits the client that you're serving at the time. And that's the code that you'll need to put on that form. So we 62. And we're a dentist, so we got 62120. I'm gonna if they were self-employed and they didn't have an alternate address, you would just use their home address if they work from home. Our client did have a physical address for his business, but I'm just showing you the versatility. So I'm using his 147 zip code for his home, but he does have a business address. But some of your clients may work from home and be independent contractors. So I just want you to see the different areas and how you will put the information in. All right, so that is going to conclude us with Mr. Milner and going through with him reporting his self-employment and attaching all of his itemized deductions to his Schedule C or his write-offs. So is everyone good before I close out? Or do we have any questions on Mr. Milner?
I don't have a question on Mr. Milner, but I did want to get your take on using the interview sheet that's inside of the TaxWise. How do you feel about that, and is that helpful or?
Yes, it is. The different tools just depends on what you as a contractor are comfortable with using. With all the paperwork that we actually have internally, sometimes the interview for in the system is not needed. Again, I want to make sure that you're collecting your information in person. You can also do both. You can collect it in person and then use the interview system to make sure that you're not missing anything. But for me, I just make sure that we are actually going through and doing the hands-on with them, because that allows it to jog memories when they're actually filling out the paperwork and they're giving you paperwork and you start asking them questions and taking them through that interview. It helps them remember some of the things that might help them get a better refund. Again, it depends on your style. I'm not against the interview through the software, but I would say try it out. You try it out and see how comfortable you feel with it, and see about using it in conjunction with your paperwork to make it a better fit for you. So I was trying to take us through and give us a little bit of versatility. That was my main goal with the different scenarios that we gave out. Mr. Matthew, which is the one that I think you worked on. Our other student is not online on the computer and can't get in with and do the demonstration that's done this one. So Monique, do you mind doing one more with the Matthews so that I can show some things with that one as far as the credits and things like that? Again, that was a little bit of a trick to it because I want to make us think. And I can just point it out real quick. It probably won't take that much longer. And then I think that'll be enough demonstration. As a matter of fact, if you call out, let me see, what was the social for the Matthew that you used, Monique?
Okay, one moment. I was clicking on share, but I'll find that for you. Just one moment.
I was gonna pull it up and then we could talk about it. What you done? I can pull it up. I just didn't want to pull the wrong one up.
Okay, the social that I used was 201202018.
Oh, you're already in it. Okay, my bad. Go ahead and share it then. So that's why I gave y'all different codes. So I went on and gave you the code for the one that you're using, and they gave Miss Fletcher a different code, because one thing about the system is because it's online and for safety reasons, one person can be under one particular username at a time. So I want to make sure we all had access though. So yeah, we're in Mr. Matthews. So let me start by saying this one was a trick because Mr. Matthews in his synopsis said that he was being claimed by his parents, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, so if we're going to scroll down, what I want you to know is that we have kids that are growing up and have jobs and want to file tax returns. But some of them are still qualifying dependents, and you're going to encounter that. So as a preparer, I want you to know what things to look for and how you have to file those returns to keep their parents' returns from being rejected and having to do amendments. Okay, so it's a simple return that can go wrong very, very quickly. So in here where it says exemptions, you definitely have to do what you did, which is you can be claimed on another person's return. Checking box A is critical when you have a dependent that is being claimed by their parent. And if they're being claimed by their parent, the trick to it is they do not get credits. What they're able to get is the taxes that they paid into from the money that they earned. So that's why he has that $350 credit, because that's what was paid into from his W-2s and the money that he earned. But his personal exemptions and his EIC will be going to his parents.
Okay, so he doesn't get to put his school information on there. His parents are claiming that.
Right.
Okay.
So that was the trick. but you passed it. You just didn't know it. So that's why when I was looking, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait because some people had questions on it, and then you didn't have questions, but you weren't sure. But you were right on track. So I just wanted to make sure that I showed everybody at the same time so that we can pay attention to these details that make a huge difference. So some of the scenarios, they have details that we might overlook and not know that they play a critical role when filing, though. Because if we did not select A, let's go down and unselect it and see if he gets his personal points and exemptions. Oh, that's because he didn't earn enough. Well, let's scroll down. Let's get down. Let's go on their forms. Let's scroll down and see if that EIC calculated. All right, see here? So the EIC didn't calculate, but we can go in and get that to calculate and know that if his parents were not claiming him, he would get a higher refund than that $350. So we can go to page 2 or worksheet, the EIC worksheet. Yes, so you can answer those questions and it should calculate. So let's enter yes and no and everything on the right. All right, go down. He's not, yeah, go down. All right, right in here, enter yes. Now let's go over to our forms tree and see if it calculated it for us. All right, let's go down and see where is our form and what's not. Okay, it's not calculating it. Go back up to the top. Oh, I think I just saw it. Something was selected on the left side that shouldn't have been. Okay, see, it's not allowing us to take the credit. Okay, so that's why it's not calculating, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with his age. So the system is we couldn't even manipulate it and get it to calculate it like that. So that's where you're seeing where we're trying to complete that form. It's not completed on the left, so that's how you know it's not calculating that credit. And it's showing us and it's saying that he's not old enough. The system knows that his parents are supposed to be claiming him, and it wouldn't give us that credit. So. But that's the truth. That's the way that we should have been reporting it anyway. I was just trying to show y'all the different ways. So this is the accurate refund amount. He'll get that $350. He will not get any personal points and exemptions. And we would want to make sure on that main information sheet that we had it selected on the exemptions that he could be claimed by another taxpayer. Yeah, right there. That's our exemption. So that is that's the accurate information for that return, and that's why that one was done like that. And I just wanted to make sure that we saw it all together so that we can see again, be mindful when we're receiving tax statements and we're putting information in, what questions that should trigger, what questions we need to ask, what information we need to verify, and if we're giving these credits, do we have all the information needed to make sure that we're giving the right credits so that we're not jeopardizing ourselves for any due diligence errors and costing ourselves any penalties. So that's why I wanted to use Mr. Matthews' scenario as something that we went through in our class, just to make sure we're covering some of these things that can get us caught up and that are very easy to overlook. All right, so that's a dependent's tax return who is being claimed by their parents. Do anyone have any questions? All right. All right. So, Miss Monique, I think you should be fully ready to certify. Um, One thing that we'll do after tonight's session, y'all get one more email for taxes. If anyone needs hands on, then I'll work with you all throughout the next week. We're going to schedule one day to go through and do what we did on a selected tax return where I will watch you go through, add forms, and finalize everything. So we'll schedule a day for that one by one, and that's how you'll get your one quality certification to say that I actually watched you. I know that you know how to add the forms, calculate the credits, and finalize a tax return. Your credentials will be finalized by the IRS when they send you that letter in to tell you that you are qualified through them to file. And then after next week, after we go through our certification, you will let me know if you also want to be a part of the One Quality Network for the upcoming tax season, and if you want to be able to use software and the things that we're using through our course for your first year of being a preparer. So it is not mandatory, but it's definitely an option for you if you want to get started in this career and you want to be with a team that be hands-on and help guide you through the different tax forms, the different transitions, the different laws that are going to be coming up. Once this new system will be released, we'll start going through our new system and doing the mock session so that we'll see how any tax laws might have changed the calculations for this upcoming year. That way we'll be prepared before tax season starts to handle our clients, any changes, any questions, and be fully prepared.
Okay, will the practice codes that I have, will they still work so I can continue to practice on the scenarios?
Yes.
Okay.
Yours will still work, and you're actually the only one with those codes, so you can continue to use that. And I'll get and once I've gone through the one-on-one with you, then I'll get those codes to somebody else.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate everything. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, thank you for your time. I know tonight's session was long, but I do appreciate you showing me everything.
Oh, no problem. I hope that I helped you all trigger some thoughts and know and kind of see how to put these forms together and actually get the refunds that you want to get for your clients. So I think you did a great job with starting out, and all I had to do was kind of go in and guide you and show you the different things to look at. So I think that you're doing an excellent job. And continue on. And if you have any questions, email me. If you get locked out or anything like that, just email me and I'll work with you, or you can call me. So I appreciate all of your questions. I appreciate your energy and your enthusiasm. So just let me know how I can help you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night. Thank you.
You too. Have a great night. And I'm going to stop the recording here. This has been our mock session with doing our scenarios from our workshop. I hope that it's been informative to anyone watching, and thank you so much for joining the One Quality Network. We'll see you next time with some more great information.
Hey, Patrice. Hello.
Uh, yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second. I'm stopping
Oh,
the recording.